Okay, welcome. We are learning the Torah portion of the week. Parsha is Vayakel. We are in the second reading of the Parsha. Okay. Oops, what happened to Andrew? Davida, you let him in? Okay. Chapter 35, verse 21. Continuing with the offerings for the building of the Mishkan, of the sanctuary, the home for God, the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, and so on. The Yavayu kol ish, and came every man asher nasa liboy, that his heart was uplifted. V'chol asher nadva ruchai, and all that he was inspired his spirit to give. I say for him. Ve'aviu es trumas Hashem, and he brought the offering of Hashem. The Maleches Oyel Mayed, for the work of the Oyel Mayed, Oyel meaning the tent of meeting, right? Well, the Chol Avaydasa, and for all of its services, or the big day HaKadosh, and also for the holy garments, right? And next verse 22, but Yavayu ha'anashim al hanashim, and it says, and they came the man upon the women, with the women. Literally means, right? We'll see Rashi will, does it mean al hanashim? It's a funny term. Should say im, with, would be im, aleph mem, but this is aleph lamed, so what's Rashi will say? Kol nadiv leiv, all those of a generous heart, they brought, what did they bring? A chach, which is a bracelet, the nezam earrings, the tabasa rings, the kumaz, buckles, the whole clay zav, all types of golden objects, the whole ish asher heiniv, tenufas zahav la Hashem, and every man who waved a waving of gold to God. Okay, we need Rashi over here. Al hanashim, what does it mean? Upon the women, right? We translate along with him. Imanashim masmuchim aleim. So Rashi says it means with the women and next to them. Okay. Chach is an armband. Hu tachshit shel zav ogol. It's an ornament of gold, which is round, an armband. And it's placed on the arm. And it's a bracelet. Okay. The chumaz, kli zahavu, it's also a golden implement. Nasan keneged oisei malkam liisha, and it's placed in the private parts of a woman as protection. Rabbi Seina Parashu Shem Kumaz, and the sages, they said the name Kumaz is made up of the first letters of the Hebrew words Kan Mokum Zima. Here's a place of lewdness, so it's like therefore it's protected. Kan Mokum. They made it into an acronym. I mean, that's not, that's what they made from it. It's like an acronym, right? Kan Mokum Zima is the three letters, the letters of the root. Okay. Next, verse 23. And every man that was with him, tcheles, blue wool, the argaman and purple wool, the selah shani, and crimson wool, the sheish, and that's linen, the ezim, goat's hair, iris elim, ram skins, ma'adamim, that are dyed red, the iris, and skins, techashim, called techashim, It was
from the weird animal.
Yeah, from the weird animal, exactly. Hey, Vio, they brought, exactly. Rashi in 23. Holy Shasher Nimsa Ita, and any man that was found with him, Tcheles Aragama, this blue or purple wool, Shani, or a scarlet wool, or Eres Elim Techashim, or hides of rams, or Techashim, Kulam Evio, they all brought. Second. Okay. Verse 24. B'chol Meirim, Trumas Kesef, and all that set aside Trumas, an offering of Kesef of silver, Unacheshes, or copper, Hevio es Trumas Hashem, they brought an offering of God, B'chol Asher Nimsa Itay, and all those that had with them Atze Shitim, acacia wood, B'chol Maleches Aveda, Hevio. For all of Maleches means the work of the Aveda, they both mean work of service, both different kinds of work. Heviu, they brought. Whatever they had, they brought. Right? That's the whole Isha, and every woman, Chachma slave that was a woman, a smart in her heart, wise-hearted, I guess, Chachma slave, wise-hearted, biyadeha, with her hands. In other words, she had a wisdom, she had an artistic talent with her hands. Tovu, to spun, in other words, to spin, right? To take the materials and to spin and to make something from it, right? V'yaviu matve, and they brought spun material. As tcheles, it was blue. As argaman, that was purple. As teilah shani, and the crimson wool. All three different types of wool. V'sashesh, and the linen, right? And the linen. Okay. 3 minutes. Yeah, fine. Shkoyach. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, that was 24. 25. Sorry, no, 25 we just did, right? So all the wise-hearted women, they spun with their hands, right? And they made these, with these materials. V'chol anashim shenasa libam ma'isana v'chachma tavo is the easing. V'chol hanashim, and all the women shenasa libam, that their heart was inspired, literally means that their heart was uplifted. Their heart was uplifted, right? Oisana v'chachma, with their wisdom, right? Uplifted in their heart with wisdom. Tovas Izim, they spun the goat hair. Rashi, Tovas Izim in 26. He Haisa Amanos Yisera. This is an extraordinary craft. Sheme'al Gabi Izim Hayatevim Aisam. That they would spin from the fleece of the backs of the goats before that they cut it. So they actually spun it while it was on the back of the goat, and then they cut it. So that was extra special. It was very fresh. Yes, very fresh. Okay. Verse 27. The Hanisim, these are the princes, these are the leaders of each of the tribes. Hevius Avnei Shoyham, they brought the Avnei means the stones of Shoyham. There's Avnei Miluim, and the stones of Miluim, which is filling stones. Mole, the word mole means to fill. Right? They filled the pocket that was, La'ephod v'lacheshin, and these stones were for the ephod, for what the Kohen Gadol wore. The ephod, which was?
The apron.
The backwards apron. Very good. and l'choshen, the breastplate. Okay, Rashi 27. V'anisim heviu, and the princes brought. Amar Rabbi Nosson. Rabbi Nosson said, "Mara'u nisim lisnaded b'chanukas hamizbeach b'tchila." Why is it that the princes saw that they made their contribution first in the inauguration of the altar? But when it came to the contribution, right, to the construction of the Mishkan, they did not contribute first. Right? What are we talking about here? We're talking about the Mishkan here. The Mishkan, they did not contribute first, but when it came to the altar, they did contribute first, right? So Rashi explains, because the leaders, the princes of the tribes, they had said the following: let the public contribute whatever they're going to contribute. And whatever is left wanting, in other words, whatever they did not give, right? Whatever they didn't give, we will complete it. But since the public completed everything, Shenemar, as the verse says, as will be later on in this parsha, we'll have it later on. The verse says that all of the work was sufficient for them. In other words, they finished everything. They gave everything. There was nothing left to give except for the stones, the gems. That's all that was left, right? Because they waited to the end. They didn't expect that, people would be so generous. Yeah. First and last time. Yeah. Amru Nisim, so the princes said, what's left for us to do? They wanted to contribute. They want to contribute to create the home of God. What's left for us to do? Amru Nisim, the princes said, they said, what do we have left? Therefore they brought, as our verse says over here, the stones of Shayam, because those were the only things that were not contributed yet. The only thing. Right? The only things that were not contributed. That's when it came to the inauguration of the altar, they gave first. Not here. Right? Because they lagged on the outset in the construction of the Mishkan, therefore a letter is deleted from their name. And Nisim Ksiv, and it says here, if you look at the word, for the word Nisim, it's missing a yud. You see it? After the sin, there should be a yud there, but it's not there. Huh? Well, actually, it's missing. I'm sorry, it's missing both yuds. There's a yud after the sin and after the aleph. Both yuds are missing because it's nesiim is plural. So the root word for nasi is nun sin yud. Yud's not there, right? You see there? It's missing the yud. And then because it's plural, it's after the aleph is another yud mem. Yud mem makes it plural, right? Not one prince, but princesses. But it's missing both yuds. Why? Because they were a bit slow in their gift giving, right? Even though they had they had a good reason for it. Right? So right? Yeah. They were doing it for a reason. Yeah, because of the specialness, they should have given right away. 28. That's a by some.
The reason didn't justify their delay in giving.
You know what? I'm going to see if there's a sikh over here. Okay, we'll wait in a moment. But it seemed, yeah, I mean, that's what it seems. I think there might be more that I don't recall now the details. Abayisam, which is a spice, is Hashem and the oil, Lamaor for the illumination of the candelabra, well, Hashem and Amishcha, and also oil for anointing, well, Sasamim, and for the incense. Right, there's spices and oil for that. Last verse for today, Kol Ish v'Isha, every man and woman, Shenadav Libam, that their heart was inspired, Oisam, them, Lahavi, to give, right, to give generously, L'chol HaMalacha, for all of the work, Hashetziva Hashem, that God commanded, Lasa, he said it should be done, B'yad Moshe, through Moshe, Hevi'o B'nai Israel, the children of Israel brought, Nedava LaHashem, a gift to God. Okay. Let's see what we have over here. Okay, let's do a couple of sikhs over here. So on the verse, go back, that the princes, the leaders of the tribes, they brought the Avnei Shayham, right? Verse 27. And the stones of the Shayham, the stones, the filling stones for the Eifin Achashin, right? So we had Rashi. So the Rebbe asks like this. Rashi says that they brought everything. No, they didn't.
They didn't bring the stones.
They didn't bring the stones. Says, why does Rashi say they brought everything? Right? Why does he say that? They brought everything but the stones. Okay, that's a lot. I'm not trying to diminish what they brought, but it's not precise, right? To say everything. And why is it, why were the Nesiim pained by the fact, they were pained, right? Because they said, what's left for us to do, right? How are we we want to participate. Every Jew wants to participate in creating the home for God, no question, right? What were they pained about? In the end, they gave the gems, which was a beautiful gift, which was a very valuable gift. It wasn't a second-class gift, right? So what's going on over here? Questions are clear?
Yeah.
So the reason why the public did not bring the gems is because it was not in their permission to do that.
Mhm.
It was not part of their, right?
But did they have gems themselves? Did they own
Whether
gems?
whether they had or not, it was not part of their command. Right? If you look at the command, it doesn't say that. Right? Command is gold, silver, copper, 3 types of wool,
The gems weren't
linen,
for them.
right? Acacia wood,
And
right?
gems.
Goat's hair, and so on and so forth. Does it say anywhere gems?
Nope.
Didn't say gems anywhere, right? Didn't say gems anywhere. So that was not part of their command, right?
So then why would they have received?
So therefore they brought all. Therefore they brought everything that they could
That
bring.
they were supposed to have brought.
Exactly. They brought everything. Exactly. They brought everything. Right, that's what that means, right? So that's now why right? They even had enough money to purchase gems. right? That's why the Nisim had pain, because it was enough. Others, it didn't have to come from them. It could have come from the monies that they gave, but it wasn't directly gems, right? But in the end, the Nisim, the leaders who brought the gems, right? Their gift of giving it wasn't so necessary. Because without them giving it, it could have been purchased. Not that they would have brought it directly, gems, because I guess they didn't have it, or it wasn't one of the things asked from them, right? So therefore, the Nisim didn't feel that their gift was so necessary, and that pained them. Everybody else's gift was necessary, was a must. Their gift was, okay, it was nice, but we could have managed without your gift, right? And therefore that pained them. That's why next time when it came to the inauguration of the altar, they gave first. Okay? That's one sikha. Another. So it seems, another thought from the Rebbe on this Rashi, it seems at first glance that Rashi is kind of bringing out something negative about the leaders, the princes, right? In other words, they should have brought earlier their gift to be part of the gift giving for the Mishkan, but they were kind of slow, right? They waited until everybody brought, and there was enough. There was enough. There was even more than enough, right? There's more than enough. Right? To such, in other words, it was enough, and it wasn't even necessary, their gift, because they could have done without it and purchased, right? And as a result of their being a bit lackadaisical, they were punished. How were they punished? The yuds in their names in the Torah is missing. It's like it's a forever commemorate, a testament to them not giving the gift, right? Right. That's the way you would seem to read it by first glance, correct? Yeah. We don't see it as a positive thing. We see it as a negative thing, right? Yeah. But if that's the case, and the Rebbe has a question, why does Rashi begin in his statement on this, right? What did the Nisim, the princesses, why did the princesses give by the inauguration of the altar first? Why didn't you start off with a negative statement? But in other words, are we talking about the altar here? No. It's kind of out of place. Why did they give there first? Well, we don't even know that until Bamidbar, until the book of Numbers, right? That's where it happens, where they gave first. So what's happening over here? They gave last. So make that statement first, right? That's what's happening in the verse. So relate to the verse, not what's going to happen in the book of Numbers, way after this. Yeah, is that clear, the question? So Rashi, it doesn't make sense that Rashi begins his comment about that. Right? That's the first question. Second question is, how could the verse mention the leaders in Nisim, right, the princes of each tribe, in such a negative terms? How could they do that? How could the Torah do that? The Torah, even even to speak about an animal that's not pure, to say that it's tameh, impure, Torah doesn't do it. So for an animal that was by Noah, after he came out from the flood, and he brought off, by bringing in animals into the ark. So it says he brought pure animals, meaning kosher animals, and animals that are not pure, not saying that they're impure. So by an animal, you won't do it, all the more so when it comes to a person. Why, yeah, when you're coming to a person, especially leaders like them, why would you mention them in the negative light? Right? And especially, why did they do it? Because they felt the responsibility that the people need to offer. So their intent was a proper intent, right? Because what is a nasi? What is a leader? The leader is to lead the people. So in other words, it's not about them. Who's it about? People. So you got to make sure the people are giving. So that's why they didn't give first. They were fulfilling their mandate as leaders.
But then should they have set the example and give, because they were the leaders?
1 second. Okay, maybe that might be the answer, but that's not the question. First, you have to appreciate a question before you give an answer. You're not appreciating the question, right? If they need, and by the way, they did a good job on it, right? What's the proof?
They did a good job on.
The leaders did a good job. What's the proof? Because they gave so much.
But they lost it to youths.
Huh?
But they lost the youth.
That's a question that the Rebbe is asking here. That's the question. If Torah doesn't speak about an animal, call it impure, but calls it that is not pure, right? In other words, not saying the negative. Here we're speaking negative. Why is Torah speaking negative? On an animal, it doesn't. On a human being, it shouldn't for sure. On a leader of the Jewish people, for sure not. Right? In other words, it's not doing it just to bring out negativity here, right? It's a question. Is that clear? Okay, so the Rebbe explains like this. So the Rebbe explains like this. The shikol adas, like, you know, their translate that in English exactly. They're kind of the thoughts, the rational thought that they went through with the process, right? And that process of the Nisim is that first is their position to make certain that the community, that the Jewish people shall fulfill their purpose. That's their first thing. Only afterwards they can then come and fill that which is lacking, right? That is the proper way, generally speaking. That's what a leader is, right? However, in this instance, when it came to the work of the Mishkan, right, of making God's home, there's another consideration over here. That the giving of the gifts for the Mishkan should be done swiftly, quickly. Bizrizus. Right? In other words, be done as fast, as quick, and as possible. Nothing should be an obstacle. Therefore, they're waiting until the community, the tzibur, should fulfill their gift giving, right? Which meant that there was holding back on some kind of gifts. That wasn't proper. That wasn't proper. In other words, over here, what was most important is the swiftness of fulfilling the mandate. Yes, that they need to fulfill the mandate, the people. but the swiftness was the most important thing. And that's what Rashi says. Because they were lazy in the beginning, therefore there's lacking in their name. And however, the fact that they held back on their gift because of their responsibility to the community for their job. In other words, there's something here that's more important, and that's the swiftness of doing it. That's what Rashi is coming to explain over. That's why Rashi begins. Well, why did they see to give by Chanukah some Mizbeach? Because they learned over here they didn't give swiftly, right? That was the mistake. This not being swift about it themselves, and to then encourage all the people to be even more as swift as they were, even more so. That was the most important message or responsibility that they had, and therefore. That's why Rashi begins. Why did they give by their first? Because their mistake was not that they're not taking responsibility for the people, but here the responsibility for the people was in them giving swiftly, and that everybody therefore gives swiftly, even though the people gave, but this would have brought it even more swiftly about the gift giving, and that was their most important community responsibility, right? Not to make certain that everybody gave, but the giving was swiftly, which includes them. Yes.
I think this comment that they should bring at the same time and wait for the people to give, and then like everybody will bring it at the same time, and they waited for them to give, and then they would give. So
they would give right away. Like Menachem Hill said, that inspire, when you see important people doing something, then that encourages and inspires you to do it, and to do it also more. If you see that they do it dragging a leg, so they're dragging a leg, right? So they didn't know what's going on with the leaders. Like, the leaders didn't. They didn't make a statement, we'll make up the difference in the beginning. They didn't make that statement in the beginning. So people knew, were right. No, right. And even if they did make such a statement, the biggest statement you make is that you do something swiftly that, by leading by example, then that will inspire the people to also give swiftly. So it wasn't their job here wasn't first and foremost to make sure that the people are giving. Their job was first and foremost that it's given swiftly. That's why Rashi begins. Why did they see to give by like in others they got a startle over here, and that later they gave first because hey, they realized they were lacking in the swiftness, not in being responsible for the people and but here specifically in giving in a swift way. So they need to lead by example by doing that. Can't do it any other way, right? Okay. Thank you. Excuse me. All right, folks. 1 second. Give me a moment here. So sorry, 1 second.